Hello and welcome to episode 310 of the 77 Club. That's possibly the number, I'm not sure. Anyway, Harry is here.
Yes, just me. It is 310, I believe. We've lost track, but socials, we are 77 Club everywhere, Spotify, YouTube. And if you can find out where Jack and Bayliss are, we haven't heard from them for 2 weeks. And I think we're just double act now. We're like Ant and Dick.
That's it, Ant and Dick. Right, okay. Well, look, Harry, let's start with Premier League action. We had quite a nice start to Saturday, a little 3 o'clocker at Molineux in the Emerald Club beforehand, getting some food, getting the beers down. We thought we had enough time for that one last beer, and we did, and we didn't get wet on the way in. So the day started quite well. However, it was ruined a little bit when, the team was announced. So I'm just going to go through it now. Sarr back in goal following his injury. Agbadou, Mosquera, Totti Gomez, Chachua, João Gomez, Krejci, and Rodrigo Gomez, Lopez, Bellegarde, Arukadare. Now, I can't remember the amount of times last season where we were all saying together, with Mosquera being injured, I can't wait to see Totti, Agbadou and Mosquera together. Harry, what was your assessment of Totti, Agbadou and Mosquera together?
Well, we've gone from saying that, what you just said last season, to now, I don't want to see any of them playing. It's gone from one extreme to the other. And yeah, I think last podcast we were saying we couldn't guess what the team was going to be, could we? We had no clue what he was going to select. And for me, it's weird when we do these double whammy podcasts. Obviously, there is a positive to come in a bit, but the selection was a mistake. I just never, ever would drop Andre if I was a manager of Wolves. He's like one of our best players. And look, Krejci scored from playing in midfield, so fair enough. But he should have been at the back, let's be honest. And in terms of the rest of the team, I saw it's so funny, actually, because a YouTube video popped up on my feed the other day from a lad called Vizza. I think he's like a Burnley fan. And he just did a video about Wolves struggling. And he got the team up. And he was just laughing at it. Like, he was like, who's he? Who's he? Who's he? And people on Twitter, when we scored, people were sharing the Fantasy Premier League picture of it saying Fair Lopez assist, Krejci goal. And this lad just shared it saying, who the hell are those two? And like, it went viral. People laughing at Wolves. Because that's what we're like. We do get unknowns all the time, don't we? So, yeah, the starting lineup, and people were comparing it to our team under Nunes, as outsiders always do. It was a poor lineup. And look, we started off really well, but then we know what happened. We got what we deserved. So yeah, the team I was not happy with, to be honest. The starting team, and the biggest one for me was he should never have dropped Sam Johnston after the way he played at Newcastle. And it's easy to say in hindsight now, but I was saying that before the game as well. So yeah, really poor day. And as you said, it absolutely peed it down the rain, didn't it? Just before the game. Maybe that was a sign of things to come, the weather being that bad.
It was one of those, wasn't it, when I think about it and saying this season on the podcast that I just don't rate Sarr at all, and Johnston would always get in front of him for me. And I'm even thinking, does Dan Bentley have even a shout? And I just think he needs to do so much better for certainly two of the goals. The free kick, which I want to get your thoughts on, because I think we were in two minds whether it was actually a foul in the first place. Probably was on reflection, but I don't know what the wall's doing. Like, what's the point in the wall if you're going to concede a goal like that? And I know Jack was saying, it's a thunderbolt and you can't really help it, but conceding a header from pretty much the penalty spot and it lobbing you, it's unforgivable, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and that header as well, like Jack was saying when we were speaking about it, it was identical to the Newcastle one, the Walter Mady one, very similar. But yeah, I don't know what Sarr was doing on that, to be honest. He didn't know whether he was coming or going, did he? And then by the time he's caught in the middle, like you say, he gets lobbed, but then the defenders were poor. For the free kick, at the time, I thought it was a soft free kick. We're obviously the other end of the ground, aren't we, in the North Bank? But then seeing it back, it probably was a foul. But, one of them. And he sets his wall up the wrong side for me. I think he should have set it up the other side, then stood the opposite side to what he did. And then said, look, try and bend it over the wall. But then, look, it's a great strike. Or is it Stack? I think the player's name was. Unbelievable strike. But Jose Sarr has got to save it. I don't care if it's a rocket, like top corner. He's got to save it if it comes that side. That's the whole reason why you put the wall to one side and stand that side. And I think Johnston might save that. I think I know you've always criticised Sarr. I know you've always not really been a fan. I do like Jose Sarr. I just think he's having a really bad time of it, and he has these streaks where he's really bad. He improved a lot towards the back end of last season when he come back in as number one with Vitor come in. But at the moment, he don't deserve to be starting. Johnston does, but Johnston was poor in pre-season. So, but he's upped his game. He's had his chances and he's upped his game. So yeah, it surprised me that Johnston didn't start against Leeds, and I think it come back to bite Vitor again. But also, he shouldn't have started Agbadu. And arguably, Agbadu, he was definitely at fault for the third goal, and he played a bit of a part of being poor for the Calvert-Lewin header as well. So those two selections were the big major mistakes, and dropping Andre for me on the day. And it was a massive game. I mean, you've got to be beating Leeds at home if you want a chance of staying up. We knew they'd be well up for it. And even before we scored our goal, great goal, by the way, they were like breaking us. They were getting past us with ease. Then, if you remember early on, flying down the left and cutting it across goal and things like that. But when the goal went in, mate, I genuinely thought we were going to go on to win. But then we just sat back and surrendered, didn't we?
It's really weird, just on that point. But first, Niall says the first goal, Sarr started to come for it and he backtracked totally wrong. I totally agree with Niall there. But yeah, to start that well in a game, Harry, 8 minutes in, great ball by Fer Lopez. And we came close a couple of times, I think, in the build-up. Was certainly a chance to do something. And it was a brilliant finish. I thought Tolu did brilliantly for that goal, laid it off perfectly. And then he disappeared for the rest of the game. I don't know where he went. And he was getting a lot of stick off fans, not really in the stands, but at halftime having a beer and sort of discussing the travesty that we'd just seen.
Yeah, and funny enough, in the build-up to that goal as well, Agbadu nearly lost the ball, didn't he? He made a bit of a pass that was risky, just about got through. Then it ends up at the final third of the pitch. And yeah, good play from Tolu. An amazing pass from Fer Lopez, like really good dink through, and a great finish from our new centre half who happened to be playing in midfield. So, and again, a bonus, a good thing about that goal was he was three of our new players we've just signed who made the goal really. But yeah, as you say, Tolu after that, wow, he had a bad afternoon, really bad. After that, we've got to remember he's not match fit as well, haven't we? So
yeah, and I think they do need some time to gel. They haven't had much of a pre-season, if anything, really, especially with Tolu coming in so late in the window. Graham says Sarr and Agbadu have cost us plenty so far. Craig says, I think the players are more confident with Johnson in goal. And do you know what, Craig? I think I'd take that point. I don't know if, Harry, you agree that having a decent defence in front of you will give you much more confidence as a goalkeeper. And he really just doesn't have that at the moment.
Yeah, Johnson's just doing the simple things well, isn't he? I mean, to be fair, we're going to get onto the cup game. He did make one weird pass, but against Newcastle, he was brilliant. He almost kept us in the game. So again, he shouldn't have been dropped, and he's just the safer option at the moment. And he's got a point to prove as well, because we didn't think he was even going to stay, did we? This window. So the fact that he has stayed, he wants to be number one, doesn't he? For his career and for himself selfishly. So I think he is number one at the moment. And I know we'll get on to Spurs, but I'll be very surprised if you're not in goal for that game as well.
I'm not normally a fan of making really, really early changes, as in pre-half-time changes. I don't know if you saw it's a story that popped up on Facebook or somewhere like that the other day about Robbie Savage. He's the manager at Forest Green at the moment. And he made something like 3 or 4 changes in the second minute. Because he just thought, well, I've got this completely wrong. I'm going to have to make the changes now. And do you think the Premier League is a little bit of a different beast when it comes to the scrutiny that I think you get if you make those sort of changes that early on, that you open yourself up to criticism? We saw Maresca at the weekend, some really, really strange decisions that he made in the Chelsea United game, Cole Palmer coming off, etc. Do you think he's too stubborn, or do you think you just can't do it in the Premier League, or do you think, it's going to click any minute now?
Is in Vitor, yeah. Well, we went 1-0 up, didn't we? But yeah, he didn't have time to react to the 3 goals went in after about 12 minutes, was it? The 3 goals happened. So, but just on the subs, he did get it wrong. But we went 1 up, so he ain't going to make you change it that early. And I don't think it's in his nature anyway, Vitor Pereira. If anything, he makes subs a bit too late. But obviously at half time when he made those changes, I thought they were wrong as well. That he just panicked a bit and just threw all the big lads on and took off our creativity and fared Lopez. But as you know, Sam, it was my fault, wasn't it? At half time, I got attacked.
Do you know what? I completely forgot about that, and I was willing to make a point of it. Somebody came, just an much older guy who should, in my opinion, know much better. Clearly watches your videos, but started having a right go at you, but almost up into your face by going, "Well, what are you going to say about this? What are you going to say about this?" And we thought he was joking to begin with, because people come up to you a lot, and 99% of the time they're lovely. It's amicable. You know, football is a game of opinions, and everybody has one, and we have a platform to share it. I mean, everybody else, if you put the effort in, you can have one too, or be part of, the comment section here. And we like to go out and meet people, but to get that sort of abuse off somebody at half time, and you turned and looked at me and went, "Well, I didn't pick a team," but I think you were just dumbfounded by it, just going, "What's going on? What was it like to happen to you?"
Yeah, well, it's never happened before. I'll say that. It was weird because, as you said, I thought he was joking. But what didn't help, the third goal had just gone in, hadn't it? Because we went down early to get a drink. Yeah. They just gone 3-1 up. He walked past. I seen him look at me, and I just thought he was going to say hello, really. And then he just went, "What are you going to say now?" Just got really aggressive straight away, which I thought was a joke. And then he said, "Oh, get me on there. I'll tell everyone how it is." So I got my phone out, like jokingly, and said, "Hey, go on then," like as if to say, "Film something if you want." Probably didn't help things, but yeah, what I gathered when I think back, he was that angry he couldn't get his words out. Like he was venting. I think he just wanted someone to blame because we'd just gone 3-1 down. He's passionate. He's annoyed, like a lot of us were at the time. I think he was trying to say he blamed Vitor Pereira, which I get because the starting lineup was wrong. And clearly the tactics were wrong. That's why we were 3-1 down. I said to him, "Look, I still blame Jeff Shee," but that angered him even more because I think he wanted me to agree with him that Vitor had got it wrong. Because obviously I fully backed Vitor before that game and said, "Look, don't blame Vitor Pereira, blame Jeff Shee." And I think that's what angered him when I processed it all after and fought back. But I don't blame the guy. He was just obviously very upset. We'd just gone 3-1 down, and it comes with the territory, don't it, if you're going to put yourself out there like that. But he's never. And then in spoons after Sam.
I was going to say that's the second one.
Half my Guinness went over the floor, got smashed in the shoulder, and got called a CUNT. So twice in one day. It's never happened before. But that just shows how toxic the day was in terms of how everyone was feeling. And like you say, people who put themselves out there, I'm sure. I mean, other people who do this, YouTube videos and more, I'm sure they get it too. But interesting. But like you say, people who come up to us who say they listen to the podcast, they're always sound, aren't they? It's very rare that happens. But I don't blame the guy. It was just funny more than anything. When I was looking around at like you and Chris and a couple of the other blokes are there, and I think everyone was a bit like, "What the hell's going on?"
It was shock, wasn't it? More than anything else. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like you say, if you put yourself up there, you're open to criticism, but I don't think you should be open to abuse.
No, I was getting ready to duck and dive. I thought, here we go.
Niall says it's all Harry's fault. Pour holy water on him, Sam. I would know, but every time I walk past the stuff, it starts to boil. So I don't know how much copper would be. Anyway, let's get back onto the game. Half-time substitutions. I just mentioned that you don't see them very often. You mean three changes at half-time. Rodrigo Gomez going off for Hugo Bueno. Minetti coming on for Bellegarde, and Strand Larsen. Great to see him back on the pitch again for Lopez, who was actually on a yellow card as well, quite an early yellow card for him. Can you make any sense of those? 3-1 down, and I'd say Rodrigo and Hugo Bueno are fairly similar players, aren't they? I suppose Hugo Bueno belongs on that side, you'd argue.
Well, Hugo Bueno was probably he tried, didn't he? He was trying everything he could down that left, but he's very isolated at times, and you assume the plan is to whack it into the box. So the three massive blokes up there in Tolu, Strand Larsen, and Minetti, who come on. And Minetti was okay. He had a couple of little chances, but it just didn't work. We looked less threatening going forward than we did first half, really. Bad decision. He just panicked, and then what made it a bit worse is that he just sat on the bench, and he didn't get out of his seat once, Vitor. And how long did we last, Sam? Just before the 80th minute, I think we left. Yeah. We'd seen enough. And look, Molineux emptied. And that was another thing. I was getting a lot of stick about that as well, leaving early, because I left early against Man City as well. But it's hard to watch, and Sam. I mean, you were there.
It is, yeah.
You know a goal's not coming. You know it's not coming. And the subs were poor, and frustrations are boiling over. So, yeah. But poor substitutions. poor all round from Vitor on the day. Look, he's not immune from criticism, Vitor Pereira, just because I think Jeff Shee's fault with the transfer business and we've sold our best players year after year, and it's the same old story again with our manager getting a new contract and without winning. You have got to criticise him as well. As much as I praised him last season, he has made a few mistakes this season, and he admitted himself after the game he don't know his best team still.
Great point. Neil says none of this is down to Vitor Pereira. It's Jeff Shee. But James says that performance against Leeds was on Vitor, and I like Vitor. The elephant in the room. What's the deal with Andre?
Yeah.
What is the deal with Andre, Harry? Because we know, or we heard rumours that there were potentially a little bit of needle between him and Vitor, or possibly Jeff Shee via Vitor, maybe after the City game, saying that, you know, what's going on here? We've sold our best players. How are we going to compete? You've in a World Cup year, you've got me playing in this side compared to, I mean, the one last season wasn't much better, but it was demonstrably better than it is now. So what is the deal? Elephant in the room.
Well, yeah. Well, the official narrative, if we're going to be listening to what Vitor said, he just says he needs to train better, which don't make sense to me because he keeps playing Agbadou, and Agbadou's been poor. Like he was saying, he needs to play better and train better. And at the time against Bournemouth, when he first dropped him, he said Bellegarde's been better. Absolute rubbish from a fan's perspective because we watch him on the pitch and Andre would have been better. And why not drop Agbadou if that's your actual feeling? The conspiracy theorist in us, in the rumours, allegedly, is Andre apparently called Jeff Shee a liar to his face because of him selling the likes of Cunha, Aït-Nouri, and, you know, they probably sold him the dream to get him in, Andre, when he come in last summer. You've got to remember as well, he's lost his place in the Brazil team. I think since Ancelotti's come in, him and João Gomes do not get selected for the squads anymore. That probably frustrates him. And clearly there's been a bit of a falling out somewhere with Vitor Pereira because to drop him twice, and for me, Andre probably now is probably our most talented player, in my opinion. He showed that Tuesday night. So I think it's just a personality clash and they fell out somewhere. But if Vitor Pereira wants to keep his job and get results to turn around, he needs to just have a word with him and say, look, you're my man, you're playing, put our differences aside because he can't keep dropping Andre, especially when we're as light as we are in midfield as well.
What are your views on that? I suppose the thread of not being the best trainer in the world, because for me, I don't care how you train. If you're a talisman, I'm not saying that any side should carry players or anything like that. But I think if you have probably no more than one, in fairness, player that maybe isn't the best trainer, but turns it on when 3 o'clock comes on Saturday, can't have any problems with that, can you?
I agree. And look, that's why I always get baffled when managers, and like Gary O'Neill did it, Vitor does it, is when they play players like when they start like Bellegarde or they start Hwang. And the only thing you can think is why they do that is because they're really good in training in the week. That's the only reason why. Because when you watch them, they're poor. And there's some players that are the opposite, aren't there? They train like absolute demons, get them under the lights on a match day or in front of a big crowd, and they can't perform. But yeah, it's funny enough, I was listening to Wayne Rooney speak earlier on a Rio Ferdinand's podcast, and he said Carlos Tevez was the worst trainer he's ever seen in his life. Get him on the pitch on match day, he was a match winner. So if Andre's a bad trainer, then, and if that is the actual the reason, then fair enough. But you've got to play your most talented players. I can't imagine Cunha trained that well last season, but get him on the pitch, he was scoring goals. So yeah, you've just got to play your best players. You've got to. I don't care how they train. If they're like misbehaving and being horrendous, I get it. Maybe that is the case with Andre. We don't know, but he don't seem that type of character. But yeah, for me, if Andre's a poor trainer, I'd still play him every week. For me.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, for the older listeners out there, Paul Merson, prime example of an absolute player, but wasn't interested when it came to training. And to be fair, when he went to Portsmouth, there's a great story Harry Redknapp says of getting him to Portsmouth to say, oh, you know, I've done the long commute before. I don't really want to do that again. And he said, well, come down on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday. You can have one day of training. And as long as you're fit and ready to go on the Saturday, you can do what you want. And he did, to be fair. Yeah. He was captain and he did the job and he scored loads of goals. So, yes, let's see what we think, though, Harry, of John Arias. Is he ever going to come any good? Obviously came on in the 72nd minute against Leeds.
Yeah, he tried, but he hasn't done anything. I mean, I'm just talking before the cup game. He just hasn't done anything, has he, in the Premier League this season at all? But yeah, again, we didn't see most of it, so I can't really comment too much when he come on. But he was better in the cup, which I'm sure we'll get on to. But yeah, after you made those changes, Leeds sat in, and we were never going to get back into that game, which is unfortunate because I did bet on Wolves to win 4-3. So at half time, I was hoping for some kind of miracle.
Yes, that did not happen, obviously. What were your thoughts on Leeds? Because obviously, Wolves being the charitable outfit that we are, they'd scored 1 goal all season and then got 3 against us. But what do you think in the wider context of the Premier League? Do you think that they're a candidate for staying up? Do you think they'll push whoever that is in that bottom 3? And that's West Ham. Is it Villa and us at the moment? Brentford to the line.
I think they'll be down there struggling. I still think they're a poor team. I just think our errors. Do you know what they have got though? A lot of fight, a lot of passion, and their players want it, and they wanted it a lot more than us on the day. Calvert-Lewin's obviously a decent Premier League striker when he's fit, but average really. We just made them look amazing. I mean, they'd scored 1 penalty before that game. We just handed it to them. We handed the game to them, and Leeds fans won't like to hear that because they were crying in the comments of my reaction because I didn't praise them enough. But look, I've watched them a few times. We made them look amazing, in my opinion. Our errors made them look a brilliant team. I think they might stay up. They've had a good start, which is hugely important, and Ellen Road will be a fortress. But yeah, they're definitely in the relegation battle for me.
Perfect. Okay, well, let's move on. And I know you've mentioned it already, but it does seem to happen quite a lot with us, where we have a shockingly bad performance and we follow it up with either a win in the Premier League or we're through to the next round of the Cup. In this case, it's the League Cup into the last 16. I can't remember what I said for my predictions, but I think I had us to do fairly well in the League Cup. Strand Larsen returned to the starting 11. It came off the bench, obviously, against Leeds. Krejci and Bellegarde were the only ones to keep their place. So the team looked like Johnston, Matt Doherty, Santi Bueno, Krejci, Hugo Bueno, Bellegarde, Andre, Menezzi, Arias, Hwang, and Strand Larsen. What did you think of that starting lineup? Because I mean, Matt Doherty couldn't get in the squad against Newcastle. So, what were your thoughts on that one? Was it Newcastle?
Yeah, he went on the bench against Leeds. Yeah. Well, yeah. When the team come out, when they put the graphic out, everyone was just trying to guess the team. When my guess actually hit it, didn't it, Sam? The one I put in our group.
Yeah, it did.
4-3-3 because I didn't think there'd be a 5, so I couldn't see Bellegarde being right wing back. So yeah, 4-3-3, which honestly I never ever expected him to go to a back 4. I just didn't see that coming a mile off. I thought he'd just stick with the 5 no matter what. So fair play to Vitor for that, because that was a big risk. But he took the risk and it paid off. And for me, you say only Bellegarde and Krejci survived, but that team, looking at it on paper, would look way more stronger than the team that started against Leeds straight away. So whether in Vitor's mind he was just playing a weaker team in his mind, or he was preparing and trying to find his strongest team again, I'm hoping it's the latter, because we'll get on to Spurs. I'm hoping that the team looks more like Tuesday than it did Saturday in terms of the starting team. But yeah, you know what? Look, Everton they did rest a few players to their fans' annoyance because they want to win a cup, don't they? Everton, it's been a long time. They sold out their away end. So I was quite shocked that they didn't start Grealish and Dye and Drewsbury Hall and people like that. But first half, we completely dominated them. And we looked much more safer at the back with a 4 and with Johnston in goal. And we eventually got the goal, didn't we? And John Arias on his natural side. I don't think John Arias was outstanding. I don't, because people got a bit excited because he did the volley that set up Menezzi. Obviously, it was saved, but he was way better than he has been. But it wasn't. He didn't need to do much to be way better, did he? Let's be honest, because he's been shocking. But it's much better seeing him on the right. Hwang Hee-chan was pony. He'd be one I'd drop going forward. Do you know what? I thought Bellegarde and Menezzi did okay in midfield. I did. I thought it worked quite well. And Andre was just outstanding, like incredible. He was probably just sending a message to Vitor being like, yeah, don't drop me again. And Krejci, he's becoming a hero already. 3 games in, 3 amazing performances. And what a bloke, and a leader as well, barking out orders. It's nice to have a leader on the pitch.
100%.
And obviously having Doherty back as captain, and Doherty's been so harshly treated, so I was glad he come in and had a good performance. And look, when they made their changes, it did get a bit worrying. We were sat back a bit in the second half, but we got the win. I don't know what you thought, mate, but I was very impressed with the formation. We had more of an identity, and we looked more solid at the back, and we created a few things going forward.
I think if Jeff Shee had done the business earlier in the transfer window and Krejci had a little bit more of an integration into the side and being able to show what he can do through those pre-season games, I think he would be wearing the captain's armband. And I can't think of many times that Totti has filled me with confidence in that role. I'd say he's actually had a little bit of a drop-off since he's had the armband. But what can you do? Does it upset the balance? Because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and we don't know what Totti's like off the pitch. And obviously being the captain, that is a huge part of it. But I would say, and I don't know if you would agree or you disagree, is whether Krejci is almost the captain in waiting, and then we almost waiting for either a suspension or, God forbid, an injury for that change to have to be forced to happen rather than somebody having to have that difficult conversation.
Well, yeah, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I said after Newcastle, didn't I? I think Krejci's the future captain. I said it, was it last podcast or the podcast before?
Yeah.
And he's shown it again. But if it won't be now because he's just come in. But I get your point. If he'd come in earlier, maybe. But Doherty, if Totti ain't playing, it's Doherty, isn't it? And I did want Doherty, but in pre-season, I did a video on it myself. I wanted it to be Doherty, but the only reason I thought he wouldn't be is because whether he'd start enough. And as we know, he hasn't been playing much until this cup game. But yeah, Totti's really struggled with the captaincy. His form's dipped. I think he's missed Ait-Nouri. We've said that before. We have an Ait-Nouri with a bit of a safety blanket next to him to get him out of trouble to pass to. But yeah, I would keep Totti and Agbadu out the team for a bit. I think that back line and Santi Bueno. Shout out to Santi Bueno. I think he's been a bit of a unsung hero. I think he's played well. He's probably been one of our better centre halves this season, and I thought he played well again. He weren't outstanding, but he's not the grey man, isn't he? You don't really notice him. He's not outstanding. He don't make howlers. He just does his job. Santi Bueno. And again, Doherty's Mr. Reliable. So, yeah, that back line was brilliant. And Krejci, for a centre-half, he's so good on the ball. So good. And obviously Andre in front of him was protecting him. So I would love Krejci if he sticks around to be captain next season, maybe. But this season, if Totti's to be dropped, which I think we all think might happen, we don't know. I think Doherty should get the captain armband for now.
Yeah, I think you're right. A couple of comments. Neil says Krejci won't be long at Wolves. No, we can't let him go yet, Neil. James says Krejci looks a good lad. Slav, I'll get my coat. Andy says clean sheet says it all. Virus says don't think we give Santi enough credit. Was great yesterday and has been this season. Agreeing with you there, Harry. We talk about Rolls Royce defenders quite a lot, but he's a Ford Mondeo defender, isn't he? You know, he's reliable. He was fairly cheap. And he's very rarely going to break down. What did you think of the goal? I know you've touched on it slightly. Someone was making a comment. Who was it? Andy said playing the back four, the extra man in midfield was key. Everton overrun us in the league. It clearly made the difference.
Yeah, well, the first goal, again, we've just been praising Krejci. It was a good ball into the box. And I don't know if John Arias meant the header that looped up in the air for about an hour, but the volley was good. The volley was good. And Manetzi, I mean, we jokingly call him Miss Netzi, but it was a good finish. You know, it's an easy finish, really, but it's a good finish. And in terms of the second goal, my God, how long we got? I could talk about that for 20 minutes. What a goal and finish that was. Nice little ding.
We were all saying to each other, and then that opened up a further conversation, which is probably for another day, but probably one of the best finishes and hopefully one of the best finishers at Wolves we've seen, certainly since Raul Jimenez. Jack did a shout out to the late, great Diogo Jota as well. But it was just great to see somebody run off the last man like that. He's got pace. You know, he's not slow. And to dink it over the keeper in the way he did, it was just perfection.
And it was quite a big pressure situation because we'd been backs to the wall a bit. So he had to score it, really. to seal it, and the tension was released. And when he was running through, because obviously Strand Larsen's a decent finisher. I think he might have put it away. I don't know if he'd have finished it like that, but it was the fact that it was a big moment, and inside my anxiety was saying he's going to snatch at this. He's going to slice it wide. He's going to hit straight at the keeper. He's going to hit it over the bar. And the fact he just without a care in the world just dinked it like that, it was just incredible. It was a good thing to see, wasn't it? And it's a very underrated finish, really. He made it look so easy, and that's just a talent. And that's why I know the Belgium league and amazing, but that's why he was the top goal scorer in the Belgian league, because he's got that in his locker when he gets a chance. And if he's going to be coming off the bench for the last 30 minutes for Strand Larsen throughout the season, and he can do that in pivotal moments, then it'd be worth every penny we've paid for him. And he seems like a really nice bloke as well, so I was very happy for him. And like I said a minute ago, or 10 minutes ago, he's nowhere near fully fit either. So hopefully he can do that more often when he is fully fit. Good ball as well. Good ball by João Gomez.
Yeah. 100%. And I think there were passages of play where the passing was brilliant, but for large parts, it was just slightly off, which meant problems when you've got somebody like Grealish, who's just going to, if it's a little bit of a wayward pass, he's just going to buy the foul. He knows that the contact's going to come. It's why he's the most foul player in the Premier League. But he was allowed to, when he came on, run the show a little bit more. And we need to change up how we react to those sort of substitutions, because when the passing gets sloppy, we're putting ourselves under pressure for no reason. And that's where you're going to fight the pressure.
Yeah, well, we jokingly said, didn't we, when it got into half time, we said Moyes will make a few changes here and Everton will win 3-1, because we've seen it so many times before. And look, Everton did get on top, but thankfully this time we held out. We had a bit of luck. They hit the bar, didn't they? Grealish put a good cross in at one point at the back post, and he scored from. Johnston made a good save. But we saw it out and we got the goal on the counter. And look, if Everton would have played that team from the start, would it have been a different story? Maybe. And the passing from us was probably a bit disjointed because we were playing a formation we haven't played yet. And there's a lot of new lads through together, wasn't it? Like you said, only 2 lads kept their place from the weekend. But it's a good platform and a good solid foundation going forward. And that formation is in Vitor's locker to use now. And a lot of those players are staking their claim to start in the Premier League going forward as well after that performance.
Exactly. So now we're going to qualify for Europe after the dreadful shit show that was Leeds at home. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We're gonna win the Carabao Cup, and I think we'll get top 6 now. Obviously, yeah.
Speaking of Spurs, up next, 8 o'clock under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Late kickoff, isn't it? It'd be good to know who's making. I mean, so. What do you feel about those really late kickoffs, which some people absolutely hate them? I think they're brilliant. What do you think?
I personally think they're only good for people who only ever watch the games on telly.
Fair
people
point.
who Sam, you can't say you like them at home at 8 o'clock when we have to go to Molineux at 8, purely because of travel. For me, it's the travel aspect. Trains, look, imagine the away fans are going down there. Unless you've booked an hotel for the night, it's going to be a torrid journey back, isn't it? So I'm not a fan of 8 o'clock on a Saturday at all.
I suppose, if you're travelling or you're not, I suppose driving, but then as a drinker, I wouldn't enjoy the day as much if I was driving.
But to watch at home, Sam, which I will be doing for the Spurs one, I do like it.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a good round off to the evening, isn't it? Yeah, and then you go and get yourself another beer and then watch match of the day. Or not.
Yeah. But not a fan if I'm going. Not a fan if I'm going to the game.
Let's have a look at some match stats for this one. Some of these may surprise you. Although we did say that for the Leeds game and we got pumped. So here we go. Tottenham have lost 4 of their last 5 league meetings, with Wolves drawing 1 since a 1-0 victory in August 2022, considering 2 or more goals in each of their last 4 against Wolves. Wolves have only lost 2 of their last 8 Premier League visits to Tottenham Hotspur, winning 4, drawing 2, avoiding defeat in their most recent 2. That's winning 1, drawing 1. Wolves lost all 5 of their Premier League games this season, as we know, with only 3 sides ever losing each of their first 6 in a single campaign. Can you guess who they are, Harry? First 6 games of the season.
Well, I knew the 5. I know that Crystal Palace lost the first 7, in 2017, 18, and ended up coming 11th. So that's one of them.
Yes.
The other two, I guess, Norwich?
Norwich is one of them, 2021, 2022.
Southampton?
Oh, you're so close geographically. It's Portsmouth, 2009-10 season, which is, of course, where they got docked 9 points for going into administration, but it wouldn't have been enough anyway. They would have been pretty much something like 8 points off the pace of it in the end. I was going to say the Crystal Palace stat there is the reasons to be cheerful because they absolutely rallied at the end of the season. Like you say, the first 7 games losing on that occasion. There was
they didn't
one
score
more,
either.
I think. Oh, really? So they were goalless and winless by the time pretty much October came around.
Yeah, and then like you say, they come 11th. So that's crazy. But like you say, it's something to go off in it.
Wolves have been trailing at half-time in each of their last 9 Premier League games. No team has ever gone into the interval behind in 10 consecutive matches before. This is the territory now where our form is so bad across not only one season, but into the back end of last season as well, that we're looking at these records and go, oh no, is it going to be a case of deja vu or setting records? We've had lots of comments in the comment section, obviously, about the defence. And lots of people are saying that all 3 of Mosquera, Totti and Agbadou should be dropped. What say you?
Yes. I agree. I would... it's risky, but I just don't want to go to Spurs, right? I don't want to switch to a back 5, sit back, and then just lose 2-0. I just don't want to see it. So if it was me, but... we're just idiots on this podcast. But I would go the 4-3-3. I'd play the exact same back 4. I wouldn't change it. I'd stick Johnson in goal. The only difference I'd make from that team that started Tuesday, I'd bring in João Gomez to start for Bellegarde. I'd let Menezes stay in. I know that's controversial, but I thought he played well and he scored. And I'd drop Wang Yi-chan for Fer Lopez. Leave the rest as it is. I mean, his confidence is high. We've just beat a Premier League team, kept a clean sheet. It's a pretty much. I know we've lost 5 in a row. And we need to get something, but it's a free hit the way Spurs have started. I know Bournemouth went and won there 1-0, so it can be done. They played 4 at the back that day. I know Bournemouth are a little bit. Well, they are better than us, but it just shows they're human. They can lose at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we've got a good record there, like you've said. So I would stick with a 4-3-3. I don't think he will. I think he will go back to a 5. I think he'll go a 5-3-2. Same formation we played at Newcastle. That's what I think he'll do. But I don't know what you think, Sam. Would you stick with a 4?
I completely agree with what you said then. I think for me, the goalkeeper and the defence has been obviously the biggest problem this season. Johnston deserves to keep his place. I know it's good to have cup keepers and you want competition, but you need to reward people. And when there's not much going on at the moment to be rewarded for, then a second clean sheet, remember, in this competition should be culminating in a start in the Premier League, in my opinion, because I don't know what he's there for otherwise. So I would agree with you on that front. I think you're right about the defence. Menezes, I'm in 2 minds. To be honest, when I think about the Leeds game, I thought he was unlucky not to get a goal. And if he didn't smash it straight at the goalkeeper, game probably certainly could have turned out differently. But he's just basically put it down his throat, unfortunately. A good enough strike, but either side of the keeper, I think he scores. But yeah, it's score prediction time. What do you reckon?
I mean, you'd be absolutely mental to back a Wolves win, wouldn't you? Or predict a Wolves win. You just would.
Despite the stats, yeah.
Yeah, despite our good form there, yeah, you'd be mental. I looked at I know we're not doing the odds today because no Bayliss, no Jack, but I think we were like 11-2 underdogs. So it's about 6-1. I think they were 4-9 on. But I think it'll be one of those gallant efforts where we surprise people, a bit like at Newcastle, where we surprise people and only lose by 1 goal. So I think we'll lose like 2-1, but we'll have a bit of a go and have good moments. He'll probably start Totti and he'll probably make a mistake, something like that. That'd be the way the Spurs winner goes in. But look, we could catch Spurs. You know, they're going to be going into it expecting to win, a bit like Newcastle were when I went up there. Their ground, they just turned up expecting to roll Wolves over, as you would, because we've just been losing every game. So we could catch them cold. We could get an early goal, do what Bournemouth did, and hold the lead. But yeah, 2-1. If I had to put my house on it, I'd say 2-1 Spurs.
The Spurs are playing as we are recording, are 2-0 up at halftime against Doncaster without wanting to age the pod too much. So we have got an extra day's rest on them as well. You never know.
What's your prediction?
I feel like we could. It would be either classic Wolves or classic Spurs for us to get something from this. And if there's a team that's going to give it away, it's possible. Well, it's one of us, and it's been us so far. I'm going to go for. I think 2-2. I think that I'd be
Same
happy
as last season. Same as last season. Remember, Strand Larson equaliser.
Yeah.
Right. Just to age the podcast a bit more, Sam. Should we try and guess?
Yes.
Should we try and guess who we're going to draw in the Carabao Cup? Because when this comes out tomorrow, should we just try and get who do you think we're going to get in the Carabao Cup? People will know when they're listening, but who do you think?
I'm going to do a quick Google of who's still in it.
Man United aren't.
No, that's very true.
West Brom aren't.
Are you looking for a home tie? Would you fancy an away trip? This is last 16, so it's almost getting serious.
I want either. I think I said last night. I want either Wickham or Wrexham at home. That's the dream. I think they're probably two of the lowest ones left. But you just know we're going to get bloody Liverpool or City or something like that. I know. I think City have got Huddersfield. Huddersfield, are they playing City at time recording?
At time recording, Man City are 1-0 up against Huddersfield.
Go on, who do you think?
Port Vale losing 1-0 to Arsenal.
A team we know are going to be in it, so maybe from last night. Who do you think we're going to draw? Have a guess.
I think it could be Chelsea.
Oh, God. Away or home?
I'd prefer it. Well, I prefer it at home, but knowing our luck, it'll probably be away. So then we can have a complete set of Premier League teams for our run in the Carabao Cup.
I think we'll draw Wrexham away and we'll lose 1-0 to a Connor Cody header or something like that. Something silly.
I imagine. There's a couple of comments. Andy and Virus reckon it's nailed on to be Brighton, but Andy's saying Brighton away, Virus Brighton at home.
Another question.
Playing Brighton in the cup, man. I'm got fatigue.
They knocked us out last season, didn't they? Away, if you remember, under O'Neill. Another question, Sam. If we won the League Cup, would you take getting relegated?
Yes. I've always said that. I've always said that, and I know people will disagree and stuff, but we've been steady decline in the Premier League, watching crap. Let's be honest. For what? 4 seasons? Probably more, realistically. So you sat there and you think, well, what's the point in just doing this? Getting worse and worse and worse, selling our best players every transfer window in the summer, certainly. Getting rid of our captain every year. Was it 5 of our last captains have been sold in a summer transfer window? You think Cody, Kilman, Semedo, Neves,
Lamina,
arguably Lamina, yeah, of course. So you just think, well, what's the point? If you're not going to win anything, then what's the point in just a steady decline and end up back in the Championship? Ask Leicester fans.
Yeah,
that's what you've got to ask. Would you rather winning the Premier League? Completely different ball game. I understand that, but you'd take relegation for that.
Won the FA Cup.
Leicester won. They've been relegated.
I think it's a generational thing. I think we're in our early 30s. I think we're on the cusp of that last generation that really respects winning a major trophy. Look, the League Cup has been tainted over the years. Like, people laugh at it, don't they? It's been called the Mickey Mouse Cup for years because people do play weak teams in it. But that's what football's all about, is winning things. So to see look at the scenes when Newcastle won the League Cup last season. It's not the best day of their life. There's a lot of those fans. And, Newcastle are a big club. I know it'd been a year since they'd won anything. And we've never seen Wolves win a major trophy, have we? In our lifetime. I mean, my memory that sticks out the most for me is going to the playoff final as a kid And that was a bloody Championship or Division 1 at the time, playoff final. So, and I remember everything about that day. So if we won the League Cup, there'd be kids that go to that. And even losing in the semi-final to Watford, up until we lost, it was one of the best days of my life. I loved it.
100%.
So
it's experiences, isn't it? The experiences of going to the... and I would say that qualifying for Europe in the way that we did, it's not the Champions League, but it was still phenomenal. And we went to as many games as we could. And, we then went into lockdown as a global pandemic. So you sort of appreciate a little bit more looking back as well, because when that sort of thing is taken away from everybody, you do appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yes, about the experiences, obviously I would take 17th and winning the League Cup. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Where do I sign? But if it's between one or the other, I think it's a no-brainer.
Oh, God, yeah. And look, we might stay down for years and struggle to get back up. But, Birmingham didn't they? Won the league. But like you said, memories like wearing those shit shirts at Slovan Bratislava. Stood up, pissing myself drunk, and Jack walking through it. You don't forget these kind of memories in the Airbnb. But yeah, that Europa League journey, like I said, the playoff final as a kid, even that FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. I just would take a winning the League Cup any day over surviving. You don't remember coming 15th, do you? Like, you know what I mean? Like Nuno's last season in lockdown. No one really even talks about that season, do they? Because we just come like 13th. It's just the memories in football, but I think it's a generational thing. You ask anyone under the age of 30, they'll be like, yeah, stay in the Prem because they play FIFA and they want Wolves to be on that.
Yeah, and I don't mind going to Charlton away or, we even talked about, I know we talked about it quite a lot actually, is the League One season and going into those different grounds. It helped that we smashed everybody.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant because if you're a football fan and you go to the games, it's James saying it's a no-brainer, but the other way around, which I think he'd rather stay in the Premier League. But the magic of qualifying for Europe is not going to happen at Wolves anytime soon, unless we do a slightly better Palace in that season that you mentioned before. But yes,
and the novelty is because we've been in the Premier League for 8 years now. The novelty of like going to like Old Trafford and Anfield, and that's worn off a bit, hasn't it? And getting big wins over City. Whereas when we first come up, they were amazing. They were good memories, but now we beat City. Now we're like, oh yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah.
So the novelty's wore off about that, and look, I get it. It's better for our club to be in the Premier League. It's better for like our fans worldwide and things like that. It's better for this channel. More people watch this channel if we're in the Premier League. But yeah, I think it's for us, like our people our age, I guess, and me and you, obviously, it's a no-brainer.
100%. Well, if you are making the trip to the capital on Saturday, make sure you pace yourselves. You don't want to be silly. You're doing a Harry. You'll be having. I had the chance to go, but I thought I'd give it a miss.
Jack's going, isn't
he? Yeah. No. That's why the. Oh no!
Oh,
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, He offered me as well. He offered me. Okay, yeah. Let's not talk about that. We get banned.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, perfect. Well, best of luck if you're going to London at the weekend. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
Yes. Cheers, everyone.
And it's a goodbye from me. Goodbye.